Right, guys, how are we? Oh my god, that coffee cup is still scalding hot. I spilt it on the way up the stairs, and I spilt it all over my computer desk. There's still about, I'm going to say 7/8 of the cup left, and I'm going to have a sip, have my first sip right now. What a mission. What a mission to get a coffee and sit down in this motherfucking chair, but we got here. Excuse the language, but I did say far worse than that before. Right, here we are. Today, I'm back for some more football reactions, and we've only got a few players to go of the 2021 College Football Pro Day class. The class of Pro Day athletes. The class of the athletes who have their Pro Day highlights on the NFL channel. And no one else, because, you know, apart from these players that are pushed by the NFL in front of our eyes, I wouldn't know where to start. I would not know where to start to be looking for each of the other 250 odd players that will eventually be drafted in this year's draft class. The only ones that I may look up, or I might have an interest in looking up, would be the top punters in the country, due to the fact that I've always loved Pro Kick. I've always loved what they're doing. I've been to a couple of trainings, and I wouldn't be surprised if, in that top 5 punters in the country at the moment, a couple of them would have come from Pro Kick. I would not be surprised. But you never know what you're going to get here. Anyway, today I'm looking at Zach Wilson. First I've ever seen of him. I don't know how tall he is. I don't know how strong he is. I don't know how long of a cannon or how big of a cannon he's got. I do know that he wears a headband. I couldn't be completely sure. But this video is titled Zach Wilson Full Pro Day Highlights, and it's about time we get into this. Okay, there is one other thing I do know. He must be good. He must be impressive in some way, shape or form, because he is projected to be the second pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. If you do want to join me for a live stream of that event, or at least my reaction to it live, please come back to the channel. Please consider subscribing, or at the very least, like the video. Now, let's get into it.
To be entertained with the throws that we're going to see here today.
Yeah, he can do things on the move. Just nice and easy here.
That's not going to do. That ain't going to fly at all, mate. But that will. Let's open up the curtains a wee bit, get some light in here. Okay, Zach Wilson, where does he play? Look, in these longer videos, these every throw type videos, the commentary team does give me a fair bit of information that I could look up beforehand, but I'm not going to. So, let's get back into this.
Get loosened up. I would love Steve if we do get Steve back at some point in time. I saw a report saying his hammy was a little bit tight, so that's why he didn't do some of the change direction drills and the jumps and everything for Zach.
Yeah,
so maybe we can do some homework on that and figure that out. But man, you talk about one of the best off-platform throwers that I've ever seen. This is going to be a treat.
No question. We'll get back to Steve Weich, who's there inside.
One of the best off-platform throwers. Now, to me, that means off balance.
The practice facility there for the BYU Cougars here shortly. This is a kid who stuffed the stat sheet, no question, right? 33 touchdowns this year, added another 10 rushing touchdowns. But I mentioned it, like, you need an extra category here. Yeah. And it's the wow throw category. He might lead the nation in throws of that type.
Yeah, his ability to maneuver within the pocket and then to get outside the pocket. And, again, throw with pace and accuracy. Like, there is a lot of zip on the ball, and it's phenomenally placed. Upfield shoulder, guys can do something with it after the catch. He did get the luxury of playing in a lot of clean pockets. There was a really good offensive line there for BYU. They had a talent gap over everybody they played this year. So,
fuck, I don't know if you can hear this, but these goddamn birds are so loud. It's putting me off. It really is. But I can't put headphones on due to the fact I'm recording this through OBS and I'm on a Mac computer. It's made it absolutely, look, I'm not going to say impossible, but definitely difficult to get these videos rolling. But we're here, and that's the main thing. Some days I'll spend an hour just thinking about it, thinking about what I might see, thinking about what I might say. But at the end of the day, you've just got to get into it.
Some of the under pressure throws, you don't see a high volume of it. We said the same thing about Mac Jones when we were talking about his pro day.
Watching the early portions of this throwing session here for Zach Wilson. Expecting plus or minus about 60 throws. So I
was just going to say, interesting they said 60 throws, because in the previous video with Justin Fields, they did mention, and it's the first time I'd heard it mentioned, the amount of throws that they expected. And they've just said plus minus, which is a betting term. I wonder if they I wonder if they had odds on pro days. Let me know if they did. I wouldn't be surprised. So 60-odd throws from Zach Wilson. Well, let's get into it.
Had a few of them here as well. Steve Weich, again, live for us down on the field. Steve, what are you seeing?
Well, and DJ,
I'm
and
seeing a
Brett,
clinical
this is exactly
action.
What they're going to script. They're going to do some short, flat routes and kind of some in routes to start and slants, depending on the wide receiver and the tight end who's catching the ball. These are going to move at a quicker pace, and you're seeing it right now as you're seeing Wilson simulate that he's coming from under center, 3-step quick. He's going to move at a quicker
those last
pace
two
and
catches
pace,
were
and then
nice.
As soon as they stretch the field a little bit, they're going to slow the pacing down because there are only 4 receivers here. We've got 3 kind of wide receivers and 1 tight end. Now you're seeing him shift to shotgun.
Not only do you want the quarterback to stay fresh, but you want the receivers to stay fresh.
Right? This is more of a pistol depth, so this is going to be a quick out. Yep, this is kind of.
And I can safely say that on a receiving route, if you go sprinting all the way to the end of the field, you're going to be gassed for at least
spent 2 weekends down in
a
Southern
few minutes.
California, down at Huntington Beach, working with Zach Wilson
Damn,
and John
who's that
Beck,
guy?
his private quarterbacks coach. And then they've spent the past 3 days here as well, working on getting the choreography right. And as you see, no ball has touched the ground. Everything is clean. Everything is rhythm. Everything looks real comfortable on this. Now, DJ, you were referring to the possible hamstring injury that Zach Wilson said he had as to why he didn't participate in the test. That's what he has told some people because he did want to do some of the tests, some of the verticals and some of the 40, because his head coach, Kalani Sitake, told me that he would really impress and even enhance his stock even further, but they just don't want to push it knowing that people are here to see him throw and to go through these drills. Look at him rip right there. So when we were saying John Beck said,
what, his shorts or his arm? Yeah, look, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed that we're not going to see a 40-yard dash or a vertical or a broad jump. Because to me, being a fan of the offensive side of the ball, being a fan of, just out-and-out speed and out-and-out agility, and it doesn't matter what position you're playing, if you've got speed, you can translate that in some way over to the field, and that impresses me, but we're not going to see it. Oh, well.
Saw one right there with the quick kind of intermediate range out, and that thing came off his hand like a rocket.
Yeah, he can really drive the football. And a lot of times when we're doing these pro days, I like to point out, okay, let's watch the feet, and you can see how quick his feet are. With him, it's his hands. He's got some of the quickest hands of a quarterback that I've ever seen. And
I'm going to say 6'2", 220 pounds.
The quarterback or the head coach at Duke, who's obviously trained the Manning brothers and Daniel Jones, and one of the premier quarterback
215
guys in the country. And he talks about an infielder. Think about a shortstop. How quick can they turn a double play, get the ball out of your glove? And with all the RPOs we have at every level of football now, that has never been more important, and he has lightning quick hands. When you look at when his hands separate and the amount of time when his hands separate to when the ball comes out, it's explosive.
Is that a Jacksonville Jags hat that I can see in the background?
That release is special, and it looks pretty compact there, and it comes out really quickly. You see that on tape too. When he gets pressure and he has to adjust and reset, man, he can fire that thing, from any angle. Dealing with the rush, we saw that. I mean, look, you just go look at the bowl game against UCF. This is a kid, by the way, who has a terrific bowl game resume. First one he ever played in, went 18 for 18 as a true freshman. Pretty darn impressive.
Okay, that was quick.
Against UCF here, his final game.
I could hardly even follow that
from the
ball.
5-yard out to the 50-yard flea flicker that he threw. I mean, every single one of those throws, you're like, holy smokes.
I do want to see some bombs. I want to see 60, 65 yards from this man.
I like comparisons. The teams I've worked with, we always incorporated comparisons.
And the city's going to be good
off
off balance.
A picture of somebody. There's no perfect comparison, and this guy is exactly this other person.
Damn.
But when you just watch how he throws the football, it looks like Aaron Rodgers. It does. It just looks just like him with the kind of that lower carriage when he's dropping back, and then just watch the explosiveness with which he can release the ball, whether his feet are planted in the ground or not.
Sure, and I feel like some of these comparisons, especially when you bring up the guy that wears number 15 for Kansas City, has that come with a disclaimer, like in fine print underneath.
Yeah, look,
he's not Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's not
Aaron Rodgers.
No,
but he does some
He's Zach Wilson.
things that remind you of them.
They do some similar things, and that was not Aaron coming out. Remember, Aaron held the ball up by his shoulder, and that was that Jeff Tedford, school of quarterbacking. Then he sat under Brett Favre and really dropped the ball down and loosened up. And
to me, he looks like I'm going to say I'm going to say 4.7 flat on the 40-yard dash.
Now, when you watch Aaron Rodgers, that's
there might be a news article
fluid,
somewhere
loose,
talking about what he was projected.
Explosive. That's what you see here
run.
with Zach Wilson.
Which I'll get
guys,
into
what you're
after.
seeing also is the anticipation throws. You guys are talking about the big arm and the quick hands, but these guys are hitting their brakes or they're patting it down to decrease their speed, and he has got that ball out of his hand, and I'm telling you, it is sailing out of his hand with some significant velocity.
And Steve, I think that's really important to note because DJ, you talk about it all the time. That's what you love, about the pro day atmosphere is you get to see things in person.
Yeah, you get a chance to see it live there. You get a chance to really appreciate it. And this year's been a
Well, if nothing else, he's got movie star looks. Doesn't he? Look at that smile. Look at him. And look at that Jags cap in the background.
weird year because you haven't had the opportunity to see these guys throw in person. You've had, scouts have been able to get out to some games, but you haven't been able to get your general manager out because they were under the protocols being in the building every day with the team. So this is the first time the decision makers really get to watch him.
Well, it sure does look like we've had some more interesting news pop up here, DJ.
I can't keep track. I'm trying to watch Zach Wilson.
What? So, all right, let's just reset the scene while you're watching Zach Wilson throw here at BYU's Pro Day.
Set it for me, mate.
Started off this morning a few minutes before this throwing session started. John Lynch and the San Francisco 49ers moving up from number 12 to number 3 overall in a trade with the Miami Dolphins that's going to send the number 12 pick, the 49ers third rounder, and some future first rounders to Miami for the right for the 49ers to move up to number 3. Now, with the Dolphins at 12, we're seeing here, and this coming from the Eagles, that Philadelphia has traded the number 6 pick and the number 156 overall pick to the Dolphins in exchange for the pick that they've owned for about 10 minutes. Number 12.
So the Dolphins go from 3rd to 12th, back up to 6th.
Overall. So here, recapping your draft order. Jacksonville Jaguars, number 1. New York Jets, number 2. San Francisco 49ers, number 3. Atlanta Falcons, number 4. Cincinnati Bengals, number 5. And now, Miami Dolphins, number 6. After what we just heard, this trade with the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles now owning the pick at number 12. That used to be.
So if any of those top 6 teams need a quarterback, they're most likely going to pick one up, right? Which means that if the Jets... Oh, no, the Jets traded Darnold.
Belong to the Niners.
So think about this. The Dolphins, we have talked about them potentially sliding back to a 6 or 7 if a team wanted to come up, or 6 with the Eagles. Maybe it would be 8 or 9 with Carolina or Denver coming up to Miami when they were at number 3. So now Miami does the trade with San Francisco, but then they do this trade with Philadelphia. Now they're
back in the quarterback market?
No, but they're right back where they're going to be able to get one of those top receivers, whether it's Jamar Chase or whether it's Devon.
Interesting trade, really, isn't it? 12th for 6th. Obviously, that's in favor of the team that got 6th. 123rd as opposed to 156th. I don't see much difference in that. But then you've also got a future first-round pick. So, basically, that trade, to me, you could say, is a 12th pick and a future first-round pick for a 6th pick. Cancel out the other 2. Interesting trade. I don't know if it's worth it. If you think that someone's going to go before that 12th spot that you really want, I mean, you're going to go for it. A future first-round pick, what does that mean? Who knows?
Devontae Smith, Waddle, if they wanted to take Pitts, the players we thought they would target and why they might slide back to Carolina or Denver, they creatively did this deal going beyond that and then came back up in front of where they would have been if they had done one of those trades.
So with the Niners trade to 3, you're looking at a very real possibility that 4 quarterbacks go with the first 4 picks. And if you believe the Cincinnati Bengals are going tackle, you could have your pick there at number 6 of the best wide receiver.
You could be staring at the best player on your board.
Could be Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Could be Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith.
Could be.
Guys, and talking about that number 4 pick now with the Falcons, has become very, very interesting. I mean, does Carolina, do they do an interdivisional trade with Carolina for Carolina to come up and get 4? That would be kind of hard to see unless the package is crazy. We still don't know about the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes in all of this if a team is willing to make that trade now. So I got to tell you, Arthur Smith from the Falcons is here. The new head coach is here looking at Zach Wilson. That number 4 pick with everything that's going on looks far more interesting than it did coming into the day.
Well, Steve, I want to talk on Deshaun Watson here for a second.
Here we go.
Because as we look at Wilson.
Lovely. It's the first route we've seen when he's on the move. That's something I've been waiting for. And now we've seen it.
And just rolling to the left and throwing to the right. That's not normal to be able to do that as easily as he just made that look. But I know, obviously, with the current situation with Watson, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen right away. But what the Dolphins have done is they've amassed picks in next year's draft. Because we thought if they were going to do the Deshaun Watson trade, they'd have to do it now. Why they have all the draft capital in this year's draft with the multiple first-round picks. Well, now they've traded back. And now they've got extra picks in future years. So if this Deshaun Watson thing goes beyond this year's draft and then everything were to clear up, the Miami Dolphins would still have the assets needed to make a move like that.
And one of those future first-rounders, perhaps, that the Dolphins
that ain't
got
easy
from
to
the
catch,
49ers
man. The throw might look good.
Of the day.
A little bit higher would have been good.
It looks like it's going back to the Eagles,
But that pass coming out at that speed, it's not going to be easy for anyone to catch. And it reminds me of an experiment they did with a member of the tennis community who wasn't a player, but who thought they could return just one serve from a professional tennis player. It was, I can't remember exactly what program it was on, but look, basically they got an average Joe who thought, you know what, I played a bit of tennis in my high school years. I'm sure I can return this. And unfortunately, they had absolutely no chance. Now, these are serves that you see returned tournament after tournament after tournament. And that just made me think, you know, if they got a random average Joe from the crowd, a bit of an armchair quarterback, so to speak, who said, you know what, I could catch that. I could catch that. Well, no, I don't think you could. I really don't think you could. Just a thought.
2022 first-rounders going back to the Eagles for the right to move from 12 to 6.
And the Eagles, look this again, there's so much to unpack here. Yeah. Now this looks like, okay, Jalen Hurts, you got the year.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't go well, we're loaded with assets in the 22 draft where we could either, you know, be in position to take a quarterback or we could use these assets to go get one.
He threw that as easy as throwing a tennis ball.
It looks like Tua wins right now, getting a chance to hold on to that job, and it looks like Jalen Hurts is going to hold on.
That was the action that I got reminded of.
You know, it's for the future to
he must have big hands
if they desire.
It gives both those organizations a chance to evaluate over another full season, if they so choose, on Tua and on Jalen Hurts, and then they have capital to be able to get a replacement if things don't go well.
Are you not entertained? I mean, hello, draft world, let's go.
Right, guys, it's time to look at some big bombs, some rainbows. Let's have a look.
As you see here, all of the coaches and everything are backing up behind the 50. Okay. So I think we're about to see a flurry of deep shots here.
Oh, perfect. Look at that.
BYU quarterback Zach Wilson here at the Cougars Pro Day.
BYU.
About halfway through his pro
BYU Cougars.
Throwing session, maybe a little bit more so.
Here we go.
And rip.
Let it rip. Oh, did you hear the crowd?
Here we go, Zach.
Did you hear the crowd? He's laughing.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
he's like, yeah, that's right. My name's Zach, and I can throw 80 yards.
There.
They go to the tight end, Matt Bushman.
I'm looking for kind of the grand
Matt
finale
Bushman.
throw.
I was wondering what position he played.
Over to the
tight
left,
end or receiver. He's huge. It reminds me of Gronk.
Cut one loose over the top across the field. We've seen them do that on tape, and that to me is kind of the ultimate show-off throw.
And they're letting these receivers catch their breath a little bit too. So that's why you know that some of these long routes are coming, and you know they want these guys to be at full strength so they can catch up to some of these balls.
Yeah, nice. That is what you want. Look at the receiving core in the middle
I
there.
saw him run back-to-back 4-5s here too. So there's a big crowd, there's the teams, but then you've got kind of the friends and family atmosphere and a lot of people from the BYU athletics department. You know, look, guys, they have put on a show. It is set up like the combine here because they know this program has this opportunity to show the NFL world, our viewers, and us here at the NFL Network what they're trying to establish here. And I mean, they have completely set out a fantastic
it's a short route, I think.
setup here, knowing that they've got a quarterback that everyone's coming to see. Here we go.
There it is.
Here we go. There it is.
That's the one. Just one time, I'd just like to be able to do that one time.
Oh, wow, and the catch is made. Look at this, man. Bang.
Hey, Rhett.
Rolling back to the left.
Hey, but Rhett, if you were
That's on the move, as we saw, on the 35.
If you were the receiver with that, Rhett, would you have to wait on
to the 5? 60 yards. I'm going to say that if he's got his feet planted, if he puts absolutely everything into it, he could throw it from the 35 through the uprights.
On that too, if DJ was throwing it?
No, absolutely. Well, if DJ
would it be like
yes.
a punt?
I'd be fighting.
Yeah, if DJ was throwing, would it be like a punt?
That one from Zach.
If I was throwing that thing would have stopped rolling about 10 yards before that thing landed.
Give yourself some credit, mate.
Little whip route.
Ooh, hard luck on the catch.
But, again, I just feel like I keep going back to the bowl game against UCF because I felt like it had everything that you see from Zach Wilson, right? You had the deep shots. You had the throws on the move. You had one in the XO to the running back right off from his own 35, pushing forward in the pocket to evade the rush, and then just all the money down the sideline. But then, like, the little 5-yard crossing route right in front just took some gas off it and got it right there. Like, it just got all of those tools.
That's why, to me, use the term he's a natural thrower. Like, it's just real easy and natural for him. And whatever the throw requires, you have an up and down throw, you got to get over the linebacker under the safeties. That's a difficult throw. He doesn't struggle with that. You need to power the ball and drive the ball outside.
He looks like a member of Boyzone.
You need to put the ball over the top, drop it in the bucket. Not a problem.
Not really the Backstreet Boys. I'm going to go the Irish Cruise. Yeah, Boyzone or Westlife. What do you guys reckon?
Teaching a high school kid this, you're never saying this is fundamentally how we want to throw a football. You just have a special ability.
Certainly a boy band of some sort. But no.
Hey guys, here's another thing I asked.
He's going to be the second pick of the first round of the 2021 NFL
how
draft.
He responded to the loss to Coastal Carolina. Remember, this is a game that was put together on 2 days' notice. They go to Coastal, they lose. And he said that's when Zach Wilson really showed himself. So the whole team responded well, but then that's when he was like, I've got to be better. People follow my lead. And it was just kind of an innate thing. It wasn't like he came out and said it, but he just came out that next week in practice and just did it at a different level. And he said the way that they finished out those final 2 games, including that bowl game, just really showed, what type of leader he can be in the face of adversity. Because really, they didn't face much adversity last year, other than dealing with the constant schedule reconfiguring they had to do with COVID. Because they really wiped a lot of teams off the map.
Steve, so I mean, like they're literally making the schedule on the fly, and that's what you saw with
the
that
big tight end goes
for people who want to pick Zach Wilson apart. They often point to that game. Well, I threw a pick in that game.
I would love to talk on that.
It's like a Hail Mary, right?
Well, I would love to talk on that because I've seen that a bunch. How can you take a guy in the top 5? He couldn't beat Coastal Carolina. First of all, Steve mentioned, oh my goodness, that is silly.
Yeah, that is sick. That is sick. Because in a normal game, he'd have a receiver. He'd have probably a couple of receivers out to the left. So you'd think he's going to make that short throw. But then he goes and throws it up like that, and that receiver has most probably broken free and goes for an open catch. I mean, to see that in a game would be something else.
I think I'd be done. I think that was in the last one.
That'd have been it.
But on the Coastal Carolina thing, well, let's look at this one more time.
Let's check this out.
He's looking out to his left. That receiver is, at least in his own defense, going to be on his own from about this point.
To be fading away to
the left, you
have no idea how difficult that is, to be fading
Well, I've got some idea, mate. And I'm trying to reflect that through this reaction video.
Left. And to be able to get this ball up, to be able to drop that down on the other hash, that's ridiculous.
That's the throw of the pro day season right now. Right there from Zach Wilson.
Jeez. But that Coastal Carolina game, Rhett, he couldn't beat Coastal Carolina. Steve talked about the game was put together at the last minute.
That was sick. Are we going to see a really, really big
I can show you
bomb
5 or
here
6
somewhere?
Incredible throws he makes in that game.
I mean, we've seen 60 yards on the move. Oh, here we go.
It's going to be the waiter that's going to be at the restaurant when Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh go out to lunch after this, because they're going to be in a great mood.
But in all seriousness, knowing that we didn't have the combine, didn't get a chance to see Zach there, but you're going to see him here put out some great. Here's another one.
Go get it.
These guys love him, don't they? I tell you what, that receiver is putting his hand up.
Great catch, too.
Great catch.
How big was this pro day really for a team like the Jets sitting at number? How big is it for Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur, and that contingent there at BYU?
You're going to tie your jobs and your future to whoever you pick in this draft, or whether you stick with Sam Darnold. You're putting your job on the line for Sam Darnold or one of the draftable quarterbacks. So to me, it's just you want to be sure, and he's making it easy on them today. They'll sleep well tonight, just having seen this live and in person. The tape is phenomenal. Everything I get from the background standpoint is really
happy to see this guy get a catch, because the last couple, the ball's been just out of reach.
Good. I've heard from teams that have Zoomed with him that have said his recall is exceptional, which is a big part of the quarterback position. Highly intelligent when it comes to the X's and O's. So he's just acing all these tests, and now the only hurdle left for me would be a physical, because he has had shoulder surgery, he has had hand injury, just to get that checked out and be okay there. And once that's done, I think you're
Shoulder injury,
you're the number 2 pick.
Shoulder surgery came after the 2018 season. Hand issue occurred, caused him to miss 4 games in 2019, but healthy in 2020, and it showed. One of the best seasons for a quarterback this year. Zach Wilson, 33 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions.
Hey, guys, and all those injuries, when he missed those games, again, his head coach, Kalani Sitake, told me a great story. He said he decided to watch those games
You're gonna see one more?
from the booth instead of on the field. And he was able to see the game differently and understand where the plays were called.
And that, my friends, must be number 60. Okay, I'm pretty impressed, I must say. He's going to be a second-round pick ahead of Justin Fields, I assume. But there is one thing we need to do still, and that's look up his stats. Zachary Capono Wilson is 21, born August 3rd, 1999. He's 6'3" and 210 pounds, 95 kg. 6'3", that's sizable. He's going to fill out. He will be 220 pounds. He will be a 6'3", 220 pounder. Born in Draper, Utah, attended Corner Canyon High School, and passed for 2,986 yards and 24 touchdowns, while also rushing for 752 yards and 8 touchdowns as a senior. Originally committed to play quarterback at Boise State, he later decommitted and chose to attend Brigham Young University, BYU, instead. His entire college career, he played 30 games, 566 completed passes from 837 attempts at a passing percentage of 67.6 overall, which is pretty good. 7,652 passing yards, including 3,692 in his final season. 56 total passing touchdowns to 15 interceptions. That's pretty damn good. 212 rushing attempts, 642 yards, and an average of 3, with 15 rushing touchdowns. So, in his final year, he got 33 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. Hang on. He and USC safety Talanoa Hufanga were selected as co-recipients of the 2020 Polynesian College Football Player of the Year Award. Polynesian? Wilson was born to Michael and Lisa Wilson and has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. He has some Hawaiian ancestry, with his middle name Capono meaning righteous. Some other members of his family include airline entrepreneur David Neeleman and health equity co-founder Stephen Neeleman. Wilson was diagnosed with ADHD as a child, a trait that runs in his family. He is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Polynesian. Well, you wouldn't have known, really, would you? He does have some nice tanned skin, though. Okay, 6'3", 210 pounds, likes to run with the ball, and in my opinion, that makes for an exciting quarterback. Should be good. We'll see him in the draft. I'm sure he's going to be picked up in those first few picks. People are saying that he will be picked up second, but only time will tell. So guys, thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, like the video if you've enjoyed it, and let's go Zach. See you in the next one.